I had never thought that anyone else had this feeling. So I never thought, to look it up. Like, what do I look up? Like, I think of my mom when my nipples get touched. Like,
welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
For anyone out there that wants to be a part of the show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you want to be a guest on the show, just go to our website, oplshow.com, or send us an email directly at oplpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you want to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/OPL show. It's just $5 a month, but with that, you'll get weekly behind-the-scenes bonus episodes, and you get to be part of our Helping Other People initiative, where each month we take a portion of the Patreon funds, and we do something charitable with it. So we've given back to past guests. Joe and I went shopping for a bunch of children's toys and clothes that we donated. So each month, it's kind of a different initiative that we decide on together how to spend that money. So check that out at patreon.com/OPL show. So today we're going to be speaking about a topic that Joe and I had no clue existed until today's guest emailed us. And the subject line of that email read, "I have sad nipple syndrome." And don't mean this to be disrespectful, but we definitely thought it was a prank email at first, or something strange to get our attention. But we read the email, we did some research. It turns out that sad nipple syndrome is very real, and there are a lot of people online talking about it on Reddit, TikTok, and articles. So it turns out that for some people, when their nipples are touched, it brings on intense feelings of sadness, anger, homesickness, jealousy, depression, a whole range of feelings. So really interesting. And today we're going to be speaking with a woman who has this syndrome. So we'll dig a little deeper into what it is and her personal experiences with it. But first of all, thank you for being on the show today.
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I want to make sure that little intro I did was accurate. So can you just describe in your own words what sad nipple syndrome is and how it affects you personally?
Yeah, so you pretty much nailed it. It doesn't super affect me, but it is definitely an odd feeling whenever my nipples get touched. It is just this like sinking, weird feeling of like sadness, homesickness.
So, I mean, has this been the case your whole life? Or did it like develop out of nowhere?
Yeah, so I have always had these feelings, but I just recently found out kind of what it was attributed to. So, when I was younger and like just getting boobs, I would have them and I'd be like, huh, that's kind of weird. And then, yeah, I figured I put two and two together, and there you go.
So it's like literally to the touch. If your nipple gets touched, I don't know if it's by you, by someone else, or anyone, it just kind of activates this feeling. And can you describe that feeling a little, like of sadness, like you said?
Yeah, so I've been trying to figure out how to describe it. There's an article that I think summed it up really well for me, at least. She said that it feels like my mom just scolded me. And it's like, so for me, it's not during like sexual activity or anything. But I know for other people it is. But yeah, so it's definitely just like, it's kind of evolved. It used to just be sadness and kind of guilt. And now it feels like my mom is like yelling at me.
So, and this is, you can do this to yourself, or is it only when someone else is touching, or is
Yes.
it if anything is touching your nipples?
Right. So this doesn't happen when someone else touches my nipples. It mainly happens when like I'm not wearing a bra and my shirt just like brushes up against it. So I can't wear shirts without bras because I get this really weird feeling.
Does this feeling pass if your nipples aren't being touched, or will it linger for a little while?
Yeah, so it definitely lingers for maybe like a minute, and I just kind of have to sit there and be like, okay, so I'm sad now, but it'll pass.
So if
fascinating.
So that's like, that's wow, that's wild. So like if you're just in like a t-shirt with no bra, then you're essentially walking around feeling like your mom is yelling at you.
Yes, basically. It happens for like a minute, 2 minutes, and then it'll go away. So it doesn't keep happening if my nipples are still being touched. But yeah.
And just to give the listeners and viewers sort of a sense, that quote was really interesting that you said, and I stumbled upon that one as well. And it's just very interesting when you hear, so from what I saw, this can happen to men and women. And from a lot of women who are talking about it in this particular article, I think it was from a Reddit thread, every time they described it, it was in a very interesting way. Like the one that you said is like, my mom is yelling at me. And another woman said the best way of describing it is homesickness for a place to which I couldn't return. Another one said that it's just an intense feeling of jealousy, like the same feeling that they would get if they're jealous of another person. And one woman even said, I have sometimes deliberately touched my own nipple to bring on the feeling because I knew it would feel nice when I stopped and the horrible feeling would go away. And touching my nipple was like my own little drug. So like really intense range of explanations for this feeling. But I think it just kind of goes to show that it's a really strong and deep feeling, and it's not physical at all.
Yeah, so it's definitely hard to describe because it doesn't feel like a family member just died kind of sadness. It's just this lingering feeling in like the back of my soul, and it's just like there. So it doesn't really affect me, but it's very odd.
So when did you started noticing this when you said you first started getting boobs, but you didn't, like, what happened recently that you were able to discover, like, exactly what is going on?
Yeah, so when I first started getting boobs, that's when I first had this feeling. I thought maybe it was just kind of a feeling I got when when I was in my room. And then I started masturbating, and then I would get the feeling right after. And that was like, well, now maybe I'm feeling guilty because I just masturbated, and that's kind of weird. I don't know. So then I told my roommate, I was just like having a weird conversation. Like, I think like when I masturbate, I have these weird feelings. And so she's the one who looked it up on Reddit, and she found out about the Sad Nipple Syndrome.
Huh. Are you able to talk to doctors or like any health professionals about this? But I'm assuming it's something that's more self-diagnosed. So how do you kind of navigate that?
Right. So I could bring it up to my doctor. I haven't, just because it's not really affecting me so much that I feel like I need a cure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so sorry, what was the other question?
No, that was really it. I was just wondering because I think from what I read, it's self-diagnosed. There's no way to really tell. It's kind of one of those phenomenon that more people are just coming out, especially throughout the internet. Like, no, this, like, it's not just me. Other people are having this feeling, and there's threads being created. I know there's a bunch of TikToks that went viral, and people are discovering now that other people have this.
Right. So it is so obscure, and that's why I just recently found out maybe a year ago because my roommate decided to look it up. I had never thought that anyone else had this feeling, so I never thought, to look it up. Like, what do I look up? Like, I think of my mom when my nipples get touched. Like,
yeah.
And so I'm assuming by what you just said with your roommate is it's something that you like share with people that like this happens.
Well, so we were just having like a 1 a.m. chat. We were super whatever. And I was just like, want to know something weird? But it's not something that I tell people, really.
Right.
Yeah. What about partners or in a sexual way? Because is there a certain way to kind of navigate that with you? And I guess if you could just dive a little deeper into like sexually, are your nipples able to be touched, or does it, like, do you just kind of fight through it and does it go away, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so For me personally, I saw when I was reading that it's different for everybody. It doesn't, like, when someone else touches my nipples in a sexual setting, I don't get these feelings. It doesn't feel super good, like I've heard it has or it does. Um, but yeah, I don't get the feeling. So not something I really discuss with them. It's more just like one on my own time. It just happens, and I can't even make it happen. Like if I touch my nipples, it won't come on.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask that. So it's not. It's just kind of happens by chance if it like rubs against something.
Yeah, so not every time. Yeah, I'd say definitely it's just like against a shirt, or if I'm like in the shower sometimes. It's very weird. It's not predictable at all.
So I mean, if it's not that predictable, how can you be so sure that is definitely from like your nipples?
Right. So it happens enough. It just doesn't happen every time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what else would induce these feelings other than, touching my nipples, because it does, when I do get the feelings, it happens right after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the fact that now you're seeing how many other people are starting to talk about this. But, I mean, the body's crazy. Like, a nipple causing internal feelings for certain people?
It's hard to wrap your head around.
This thing I was seeing that I'm sure you saw looking this up, called dysphoric milk ejection. When mothers are lactating, they get this feeling. And so that's a little more researched. So that's caused by like hormones releasing and intake of hormones. But then they found out that people who aren't lactating also have these feelings.
Yeah. That's wow.
I mean, I guess it sort of would make some sort of sense, because I read a stat that like there are a certain percentage of women that can orgasm with just like nipple stimulation. So there has to be, like, obviously there's nerve endings in nipples, but like there is some sort of connection to the brain there if women are just able to orgasm just from nipple stimulation. So I guess in the opposite way, to make you like sort of depressed and upset would I guess make sense that is possible as well. But I've never heard of it until today, honestly.
Yeah, and so I just even told my mom when I found out that I was coming on the podcast, like, want to know something weird? Like, I think of you when my nipples are touched. And she was like, what the fuck?
So wait, for you specifically, it's that similar feeling of like very specific to your mom yelling at you.
Yes, so that's kind of what it's evolved into. It used to just be feelings of sadness and guilt.
Yeah.
And now more recently, it's like, being told off by my mom.
I'm trying to like picture what that feeling is. I haven't been yelled at by my mom in a while. I'm like trying to like put myself in the...
I haven't either, so it's just kind of a nice reminder.
Yeah, right. Is it like angry? Like, there's two things I can think of being yelled at by my mom when I'm younger. One is like, shut up, mom. Like, I'm angry at you. You don't understand. Or like, I didn't deserve to be yelled at. Or is it like, damn, like I got caught. I was doing something wrong, and now I feel super guilty, and I've upset my mom.
So definitely the latter. It's like I feel like really bad and just like I need to go to my room kind of thing.
Huh.
Like,
Man.
she's disappointed in you.
Right. And like I'm disappointed in myself. So when it happens, I just kind of sit there and I'm like, okay, we're gonna just be disappointed in ourselves for a little bit.
Yeah. Right? Wow. And I'm assuming you don't know the answer to this, but do you think that you'll have this forever, or are you just kind of prepared that this just might be something that you have forever?
Yeah, so I think it is probably something that would happen forever because it's basically happened my whole life. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't feel like I need to prepare for it in the long run, but I do know that it's there.
How frequent do you think, like, does it happen? Is it something you deal with every single day, or is it just like every other day?
Yeah, maybe like 3 times a week. So not super often, but often enough.
Wow.
I feel like that would get so confusing at a certain point where you're just having a good time and then you're like, oh wait, no, I'm in this horrible mood now because I'm thinking about getting screamed at by my mom.
Right, yeah. So like, and it's really weird. It doesn't happen if I'm wearing like a bathing suit. It's really just like that brushing feeling that makes it happen.
Yeah. And, you know, this is one of those episodes where this may be something that someone listening has never been able to put a name to, or but they've experienced it themselves. Any advice from you of just starting to navigate this or like beginning to understand it?
Yeah, so I would say just let it happen. It doesn't mean that you are sad. It doesn't mean that, you know, your mom is mad at you, which is definitely something I've had to kind of deal with because I'm like, why am I sad all of a sudden? Oh, wait, it'll pass.
Have you ever talked to like some sort of doctor or anything who like can give some sort of medical advice on this or something?
No. So I haven't talked to a doctor. I am curious to see what they would say because it is so uncommon. So I don't think they would know, but I'm sure they would have some advice for me.
Yeah, I guess.
It would be interesting.
Right. I was looking and it said like that a lot of people have told their doctors and, you know, nobody's heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess you said you don't really talk about it, but is there like a fear at all of kind of coming out and explaining this where someone might just say, I don't know, this is fake or weird or not what they're saying it is. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like something where so many people who judge just wouldn't even begin to try to wrap their head around.
Yeah, exactly. So that is why I don't really talk about it. Not even just because of like sad nipple syndrome, just because, you know, talking about the human body and especially like women's bodies, it's pretty taboo. So
yeah, no, and that's a good point, and that would be really annoying and sad to see, like if this does become more mainstream and people start questioning, you know, what you feel with your body. You know, no one can understand that except you or other women or men that are going through it. But I guess that's what I was getting at is like, you think of the positive side of the internet where you can find other people who are experiencing this and, you know, sharing information back and forth. And then there's the dark side where the trolls are going to come in like, what is this? This can't be real. Or, you know, start being experts on people's body all of a sudden.
Right. So I think because it is such a small community right now, it's very, you know, supportive and just, I mean, when I saw like the Reddit post, I felt really like, oh my gosh, other people have this. Like that is so crazy. But yeah, I definitely think if it got more mainstream, people would definitely question it. But just like everything else.
Mm-hmm. Have you done like a lot of research and found like a lot of forums, and is it something that you believe? Because I mean, Greg had mentioned that there's videos going viral on TikTok. I haven't seen any of them, but is it something that is growing in popularity right now?
Yeah, so I hadn't seen the TikToks until I was kind of looking some stuff up for this show. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, because TikTok is kind of a gray area, like maybe people are just agreeing just for the sake of it. But it was really nice to see that initial post.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. And hey, I mean, we're gonna make this popular now, right? People are gonna be aware. I'm going to assume that most people who are consuming this episode in whatever form right now have probably not heard about this before. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. And I think, you know, there are probably people like me, like, it's just so obscure. You think, what's even the point of looking it up? It's not going to show up.
Yeah, but you would be shocked.
Even the name, like Sad Nipple Syndrome, you're like, what? What are we talking about right now? You know,
it's like a Billie Eilish album or something. It's like that, but that's why, being honest at first, we're like, what is this? Like, sometimes we just get random emails that clearly aren't real, or it's like someone trying to describe something in a strange way. But no, I mean, this is what it's called, and like we said in the beginning, there's more and more people, you know, discussing this and trying to just explain the feelings behind this, because it is, you know, when something is happening to just you, and it's your body and your mind and your feelings, you know, it's just so hard to take something so internal and just externally explain that to people. But, you know, I think you did a really great job of helping us understand the feelings behind this, and, you know, just kind of everyday life with this, to hopefully just kind of normalize it and, you know, get it out there for anyone who is curious, who may be experiencing this themselves and, you know, want to do more research. So we thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think sad nipple syndrome can be kind of misleading, because it's not necessarily feelings of just sadness. It's just like these odd sinking feelings.
Right. Yeah. And I guess that's a good point too, right? It's going to be different for everyone who does experience it. And this was, you know, your experience, which may be similar to other people's, but it doesn't mean everyone who has this has the same exact form or feelings.
Right. And so I think I'm pretty unique in that I don't get these feelings when I am with a partner. But I think there are a lot of people where nipples just can't be in play at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I guess that's some upside there, because to my knowledge, there are people out there that enjoy the nipple stimulation. So to have that be the complete opposite, where it's like, this is supposed to be a sexual experience, and I'm thinking about my mom yelling at me, this is awkward now.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. Yeah,
so
I was worried about that when I first became sexually active. Like, am I gonna, like, after everything is said and done, am I gonna just be lying there like my mom is yelling at me?
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Yeah. So luckily we haven't had that. But yeah, so even with, as like I said before, like, nipple stimulation isn't really a turn on for me, but it doesn't have these bad feelings.
Well, that's good news. Well, we're happy to hear that, at least.
But yeah, again, happy to hear that.
We thank you so much for coming on the show and you know, telling us about your experience with this. Really interesting, and like Greg said, I mean, not a lot of people know about this, and if anybody who listens to the show has ever heard about it, like, if that, so we're happy to you know, kind of shine a light on something that is seemingly in the dark, because I mean, like I said, I've never heard of this before. Apparently there's videos going viral on TikTok. I've never seen them. But it is an interesting topic, and, you know, to hear people's experiences with it. I know, I got to hop on nipple TikTok somehow. I don't know what I got to do to get there, but I'll find my way. Maybe after this, my phone's listening to me. It'll get me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, Sad Nipple Syndrome.
Sad Nipple Syndrome with a little bit of a happy ending.
With a
medium happy ending.
But you can have nipple stimulation, but also you could have also thinking about your mom screaming at you when you were younger or something, like a disappointed feeling, like my mom's disappointed in me, and, you know, whatever.
It's an interesting description, and, you know, I think, you know, you said something that was pretty scientific, I must say, but
about the nipple stimulation. Yeah,
it's we just think, like, if a nipple can be the cause of such, the stimulant, the cause of such arousal and strong feelings in that sense, so like you said, of people can orgasm just from that, then why not the other side of the spectrum? Like, clearly the nipple holds some power here to
it's
with
powerful
feelings.
It's a powerful patch of skin,
and now
sure.
it's more powerful than I ever thought, if it can do this also.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of wild too, that you could just be hanging out with no bra and a shirt, and all of a sudden depression and like.
Yeah.
And I imagine like, you know, in her situation, it was kind of like, it doesn't happen all the time. It's not every single time you touch them. It's not during sexual encounters. But I imagine for other people, it's probably like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, from like some of the excerpts and stuff I read, it seems like there's for sure a farther end of the spectrum where there's no stimulation sexually or anything like that. It's like nipples, like she said, are completely out of play. Don't touch them or I'm going to feel homesick, depressed, jealous, mad, wild.
Homesick is such a random one to me.
It's like so random but so specific. That's what makes it so interesting. It's like longing for something. Like that feeling, that's an intense feeling, you know? Like something's in the past that I love and I can't get back to it and I might never get back to it. That's really sad and intense.
God damn, man. I feel bad for people that just can't like get their nipples sucked and be like, that was just dope.
It's wild.
But then they're like thinking about like their childhood home. Like, fuck.
Yeah. Crazy. But, you know, I mean, really, really glad we had the conversation because, like we said, I like discovering new things. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like discovering new things, and I like that. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I like when we can use this platform to be one of the maybe like first platforms to be discussing these things openly and like have someone on, you know, like kind of pulling something from the depths of Reddit or, you know, even TikTok, which only so much can come across in a TikTok video. So I'm glad that we got opportunities like this. So we'll see what people have to say.
I really don't think anyone's ever heard of this before. So the fact that we're able to like break the story, it kind of feels like
break the story. Yeah. We got a hot lead.
We got a hot lead, sad nipples, print it, put it on the front page. But yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. But yeah, I mean, like I said, interesting thing. Hard to imagine, like, even specifically what she is saying. And also, just to have, like, basically a button of sadness on your body.
A button of sadness. It's very poetic, but that's also a great way to put it. That's kind of what it is.
It is. It's like, you know, I just said, and also what you were saying, where, like, someone enjoyed coming out of the sadness so much that they'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna make myself upset.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna flick this now because I'll be upset, but I know happiness is on the other end. That
is like a vicious cycle, buddy.
That stays with you. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's that one. That's gonna lose sleep over that. Now I'm gonna be like hyper aware of my nipples and like what I'm thinking about if I'm touching them.
I think you'd know.
Yeah, I think
now.
I would by now too. But also, we'll see.
Yeah, don't force it on yourself now.
I'm not going to force it on.
Psychosomatic, like.
Don't even start, because who the hell knows what could happen.
Crazy.
But yeah, for anyone out there, like I said earlier, if you want to be a part of the show, you want to be a guest on it, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Don't be shy. Go to our website, oplshow.com, or you can just send us an email directly at oplpodcast@gmail.com. We go through all of them, and we will schedule something out if we think it fits for the show.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram at OPL Podcast. Join the other patrons at patreon.com/OPL Show for those bonus episodes and to help us choose our monthly charitable ventures. It's super fun. You get to be part of the discussion. And buy our game that came out, paythepricegame.com. Yeah, that's right. We made a game.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Paythepricegame.com. We made a fun game for everyone to play when they're hanging out with their buddies and they want to have a good time. But yeah, so definitely go check that out, paythepricegame.com. Not going to go over all the rules if you haven't heard of it, because we did talk about it a little bit earlier last season. You can just go to the website. It has everything on there and a video of people playing, some of our friends, and you can check it out. If it looks cool, give it a buy, all right? And we appreciate all of you, and that is all. See you guys next time.